Welcome to the InterViews podcast.
Il cross, prima intenzione, Bobo anticipato, palla vagante, mette giù, recova, il tiro,
Welcome, Interisti, to episode 182 of the InterViews podcast. We are here, actually the official podcast is sempreinter.com. We are here for the post-match reaction of Inter Napoli at the San Siro, which finished 2-2, goals from Federico Di Marco in the 9th minute. McTominay equalized in the 26th. Hakan Çalhanoğlu put us ahead in the 73rd on a penalty, and then McTominay equalized for Napoli in the 81st minute. As always, I'm one half your co-hosting duo, Alessandro Rafa, joined here by Johnny Paterno. Johnny, this was for sure the biggest game of the season. A lot of conversation before the match about how in form Inter were and how, they're finally due for a victory and really put some daylight between them and their opponents in the Scudetto race. That did not happen. A point is secured. We didn't lose, but a point is secured. We are on 43 points, 3 points ahead of Milan, who dropped points against Fiorentina today, and 4 points ahead of Napoli on 39 points. I feel like a little bothered and depressed by some of the stuff that happened because it was stuff that we're used to seeing. Where are you at right now in the immediate aftermath of this game?
Yeah, this is probably the most frustrated I've been with this team all season, to be honest. The most disappointed I've been with the performance. I think there's a lot of blame to go around, and I'm just tired of it being the same things time and time again. Like, do these players not learn? I don't get it. And some of the tactical decisions made by Kivu, I don't understand them either. His reluctancy to pull the trigger on substitution sooner, seeing the way the game is playing out is very frustrating. I've given him the benefit of the doubt in a lot of ways. I'm not a Kivu hater by any means, but this game, I think he got a lot of things wrong, and I kind of put this draw on, blame it on him, along with some of the players I'm sure we can get into.
Okay. I didn't necessarily feel like that, but let's go ahead and talk about it. Do you want to talk about that right off the jump? Do you want to get into the game? How do you want to go about this?
Whatever you want to do, like whatever direction you want to take it. I'm more than happy to go. So
okay, let's talk about the game because I think that'll help inform a lot of the opinions we'll give here. So I have the game situations that I want to talk about. So let's start with the Di Marco goal. It was an Inter goal that we've seen scored a bunch this season, and it is the best of Inter when we see these type of goals get scored. Zielinski presses McTominay and wins the ball off of him, is able to lay it off to Thuram. He's actually fouled in the process, but he's able to lay it off to Thuram, who runs at the defense, plays it off to Di Marco, who from that angle, that's a pretty tough finish, but he lashes it into the bottom corner past Vanja Milinkovic-Savic. Just a really good goal and a really good start from the team, and that continued throughout most of the first half. There's a foul on Thuram, potentially a foul on Thuram, a potential last man foul. I guess we could talk about that pretty quickly. Did you think it was a foul by Juan Jesus on Thuram there?
No, not a foul. No, they're hand playing. Like, no, there's nothing in it.
Yeah, there was a lot of Thuram involved in that exchange, so I wouldn't have given it either, and it would have really changed the match. There was another foul by Juan Jesus where he actually put his foot through Thuram's chest, tore a hole in Thuram's shirt. For me, this is a much more egregious let go by Doveri here, and I think the argument against is going to end up being like, well, he went for the ball. There's 100 different ways to clear that ball without having to have your foot end up in your opponent's chest. That to me is dangerous play, and at the very minimum should have been a yellow card there.
Yeah, 100% agree. I mean, you saw, he ripped a hole in the jersey, and I just don't understand. Like, yes, he kicked through the ball and he was just trying to clear the ball, but it's the follow through which looked like there was intent to hit him. Like, I mean, I don't understand. I understand. Well, I understand Dovetti's from behind, so he's not going to see the contact. Fine, but the fact that VAR doesn't even intervene, doesn't even like suggest something, like I'm not saying it's a red card, but at the very least, it should have been a yellow. And then who knows what happens with that second yellow that he ended up getting finally. Maybe that gives us an opportunity to go ahead. I mean, he committed some other fouls too, and wasn't carded or given a warning for any of them. And maybe, you know what? I mean, if you look, Dovetti is typically tries not to issue a lot of cards. He will call fouls, although I thought that today was his worst match I've ever seen him officiate for an Inter game. But
Yeah.
I'm usually one of his biggest fans, and but I just don't understand how no one thought like, might want to take a look at this. It's a little frustrating to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, I have no problem calling it out and complaining about it, because if it was the other way around and Akanji had his studs in Hoyland's chest, it would be Marotta League, Marotta League, Marotta League. So that was bullshit. And 110% should have been a yellow at the very least on Juan Jesus. In the 26th minute, Napoli equalized through McTominay. A ball is played across the box. It gets past Bisek. Akanji's going to his man. McTominay is able to get to it and put it past Sommer. So the question for me here is, because you have three Inter players involved in the play, and you ask yourself, like, could anyone have done better? Could Bisek have stopped the ball going through his legs? Like, maybe he could have defended it, but for me, I don't think that that's on him. Akanji, could he have put more on McTominay? McTominay is a super athlete and got to the ball ahead of him, but Akanji was, he was doing his job. And then you have Sommer, who is falling towards his left, not covering his near post, and there are, I would say the far post is fairly covered, and it would have been a really difficult angle for McTominay to have gone far across Sommer like that. For me, it falls more on Sommer, but I do. You're the InterViews pod goalkeeping expert, and I do want to get your your opinion on how he played that one.
I mean, I wouldn't say the expert by any means, but yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think Sommer was the one to be to blame for that. You look at the way that he, first of all, hesitating to come out. Like, I think he could have easily got in front of that as well and stopped that from even getting to McTominay. I don't understand. You look at the way he played the whole game. The offside chance early to Hoyland, hesitant to come out. He could have easily recovered that ball. I don't understand why he doesn't.
Yep.
You look at the what was the one that Bastoni kicked in the second half, that he was clearly frustrated that Sommer again did not come out of his box to come recover. I mean, I just don't get what's going on with Jan Sommer lately, especially with the hesitancy. If you're going to be scared to play goalkeeper at
Yep.
Inter, I think it's time to just hang up the boots or be willing to go talk to your manager and say, hey, you know what, I'm not myself. I don't have the same level of confidence. This is something where I think um, you know, uh, Joseph Martinez could do better. And I know that they said there was question, if he would be able to play this game. Okay, maybe he's not able to, but like I think going forward, if we want to truly be able to contend and feel confident in our goalkeeper, it has to be Joseph Martinez, in my opinion, for the rest of the year, because this is just becoming ridiculous, and that goal could have been avoided.
We don't have a goalkeeper. We just don't. Like all the other big sides have superb goalkeepers. Vanya Milinkovic-Savic, Mike Banyan, even Di Gregorio, like Miles
Oh
Vilar.
God,
These
yeah.
are these are good keepers, and we have a terrible keeper. Like he is in the worst form of his life. I want to read off my notes about him today. Extremely poor distribution all game. Wrong-footed on the goal. Was caught in no man's land on the offside early against Hoyland in the game. Played a ball to Zielinski when it was clear that he was under pressure, and immediately it got taken off of him. He doesn't come out to help Bastoni late in the game. Like he's not a zero. He's a negative at this point.
Agreed.
the giveaways, the like communication with the defenders where he is the one that is playing scared. We do not have a goalkeeper, and it really should like I am never one to throw away a competition, but we should seriously consider like knowing that that teams can score on us with any of the chances that they create because we basically have no goalkeeper. He's not going to help you keep the ball. He's going to be hesitant the entire time. It's like maybe we have to focus 110% on Serie A because we can't have both tired players and a terrible goalkeeper. I'm not saying that that's what we should do, but it's a thought. You don't have a goalkeeper.
No, it's 100%. It's something that I mean, listen, I know the team internally is never going to say this or consider it, but it's like if this is what you're going to do, even the shot that was directly at Jan Sommer, I was worried was going to somehow get through him. That was never the case before. Honestly, wasn't the case even last season.
Yeah.
I felt very secure with him in goal, and I was like, oh yeah, let Martinez only get maybe the weaker sides and the Coppa Italia. That's it. He was probably our best player in the Supercoppa, you could say. Joseph Martinez, I'm saying, So it's like, why do we continue to give Jan Sommer the position between the posts if he's unable to just perform to the level that he was even able to do last season? We really thought, and when I say we, I really speak for myself and maybe you. I don't know if I don't remember now if you were with me on this, but we thought that, okay, Club World Cup is going to be when Martinez takes over and he gets ushered in as the new starting goalkeeper. Sommer takes a back seat this season. It's his last year.
Yep.
That it just made sense. It made sense for all parties involved. And the best thing, if Joseph Martinez was trash this season, or even at the Club World Cup, let's say, you could have easily decided, okay, now we need to know we have to go looking for a goalkeeper here. But it's just it is a negative for sure to have him between the posts. He's falling faster than Handanovic is, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
And I know you could, maybe people may look at that and be like, oh man, that's revisionist. He is, history right there. You're just being a little ridiculous. Like, listen, you saw Handanovic fading. You saw it, but then he would have games where he would be massive. It was few and far between, but they were games where he was the reason we won or stayed in it or were able to keep a draw, whatever. I remember actually one game in particularly where Handanovic, we won, I think it was Torino 1-0. We should have lost. Like, they were bombarding him and we were able to keep the victory. Jan Sommer, if teams decide to just rip shots from any spot in the box, it could potentially just go in because, one, he does a half-hearted dive. Look at the Højlund effort too when he was able to come in and it went just wide. He does like a half dive. It's like,
and he easily could have
easily
gotten to the floor
easily, and he could have. And if it would have been on target, if he does go down like a normal goalkeeper would, he would have made the save. I would have rather he actually saved it and it go wide and give them a corner than you not go and it be a goal kick, because I thought that was going in after that weak dive. I was like, are you kidding me? And we were just so lucky that Højlund did not hit it. He hit it pretty cleanly, but not like perfectly for it to go in.
Skipped off the outside of the post. I mean, it was way closer than what his action, the way he played it was like, oh, that's definitely wide.
It's 100% going wide.
It skipped off the outside of the post.
Yeah.
Like, to make no effort on that.
A quarter of an inch to the left, it probably hits in and maybe goes across the line. Maybe doesn't go in, but it would have given him something to really think about. It's just,
and that's why I really don't want to let Sommer off the hook here.
No,
even because that Højlund chance could have very easily been a goal. Number two, I'm tired of games where and I know XG is not everything, but Napoli's XG was 0.7, Inter's was 0.14, but we tied the game 2-2. And could have easily lost it if that Højlund effort had gone in. It's like it. And with Handanovic versus Sommer, we're talking about their drop-offs. Handanovic's reflexes fell off, but it wasn't his hesitation. It was never like he didn't want to come out and claim stuff. It was never that where he was playing scared. It's just that as he got older, like he lost a step, which happens. Sommer's lost a huge step and he's playing scared. That's a fucking deadly combination for a team that's trying to win things.
No, 100%. Like the way that he is moving so far this season, it's not the side. Like he is not a goalkeeper. I would even want him to be the backup next year. Because let's
No,
say it is Joseph Martinez, and God forbid he gets an injury, we'd be screwed. We
no.
really would be. Like, I don't know what the situation is with Stankovic, but I'd be okay with him coming back as a backup if that's literally if we're gonna move with Joseph Martinez. I'm saying, but for this season, if you're Kivu, you have to make the change. You have to. You just have to be willing to take the risk. And whenever we decide to talk about Kivu, there's some things I want to bring up too with him. But
Mhm.
in regards to the goalkeeper, you have to just pull the trigger on this.
I agree with you. I that is one of the biggest questions I think for Kivu, and he's answered it in other aspects across the team, like going with Zielinski over Mkhitaryan finally, starting Bisek and Akanji instead of having Acerbi in there. Even giving Boni and Pio a lot more playing time than other managers
Not enough.
would give. We'll talk about that for sure. But this is the big one of the biggest questions I have for Kivu for the rest of the season. It's like we have been really solid defensively for a long time now, and it's masked Sommer's deficiencies. They didn't go away just because we started winning games. It's just that he hasn't had to look bad because our defensively we've been so good. But he still is that goalkeeper from earlier in the season, and we can't paper over it. Um, so yeah, I think it was a terrible game from Sommer, and he put us in a really bad spot. Rest of the first half, you have that Zielinski shot that is absolutely heading to the bottom corner. That Lauti is in the way of. We'll talk more about the captain in a bit.
Mm.
You have that Barella perfect cross for Turam that Vanya pushes over. It was a really good positive first half for Inter, but it was very
Yes.
also apparent that we expanded a lot of energy. It had everything. It had the silky first touches, it had the good pressing, but we expanded a lot of energy. It's another situation where a team scores with essentially their first chance. It's another one where Napoli is a well coached, well drilled side, and they're like a quality side. Like it's not, I think Inter's better, but Napoli is a good team. It takes a lot of energy to create good chances against a well-coached team like Napoli, but you don't get that feeling when it comes to playing against Inter. You can create a chance and you're probably going to score because we don't have a goalkeeper, and we do stupid things. We play stupid. Um, Second half, there's that Vanya plays Hoyland in. We talked about that chance. Akanji did not look great on that one. I definitely want to talk about Akanji's game today. And then we get to the penalty. Uh, that was won and converted by Hakan. My two questions here, the two things that I want to talk about. One, do you like that penalty being given? And I'm going to frame that in the context of by the letter of the law, that is a penalty. 110%. It's a penalty.
Without a question.
But is that for you? Do you like that kind of penalty being given?
No, I honestly hate it. I really do. And I'm not just saying that to be a contrarian or whatever. Like, it's truly just because, yeah, Henrik wins the ball. Play continues, and just because he steps, and this is the second time we've gotten a penalty like this season, by the way.
But they're giving it. It is
They are
they're
giving
calling
it,
it.
and it is a penalty. Like I don't dislike. Yes, by the rule of the law, the letter of the law, that is a penalty, hands down, without a question. But like, if you win the ball and play continues,
Yeah.
like if steps on him and impedes on him getting to the ball, to me that's a clear cut. Like
Yeah.
same thing, penalty. But like you won the ball. Like it didn't. Like it's not like him stepping on you changes anything. If that's the case, I mean, just any touch in the box, when you win the ball could be ruled a penalty. If I play the ball and I get shoved after it and I fall down, is that a penalty? Like
I
it's frustrating. And look, I'm happy we won it, right? Like I'm not gonna complain that we won the penalty, but like if you look at it as just take Inter out of it, and you just look at it as a footballer, at anyone who has played football, soccer, footy, calcio, whatever you want to call it, if you look at it and you got called for that, you'd be furious.
yeah.
Furious.
I don't like it. I don't like that kind of penalty because I think it's the softest penalty. And in a big game like that, a head to head, like I just don't like that that's the kind of penalty that is won. The
Yeah,
reality of the situation is both Mkhitaryan and Rahmani go for the ball. Mickey gets his foot a second
a
before.
split second.
Rahmani has to land somewhere, and it's going to be on Mickey's foot because Mickey's foot is there. Anywhere on the pitch, that's a foul. Anywhere on the pitch, that's a foul. And in the box, it's going to be a foul. But I just don't like it. Whether
Like,
you want to talk about it takes Mickey out of the play or whatever the reasons you want to give, but I think people that have played the game and know like how bang bang these plays are, like you're both going for it, and he just
he
got
had
there.
no intent to step on it. It wasn't like he was trying to stop him from doing. He was trying to just win the ball. That's it. And look, I'm not trying to defend Napoli. I hate Rahmani. I hate Napoli. Conte. I hate him even more after this match today, to be quite honest.
We're gonna talk about that.
But it's just it's a tough penalty to give, in my opinion. Like it's just tough. Like if that happened and it was against us, like it's the same thing with not the same thing. It's a different type, but like the Dumfries penalty against Juve, where they were both going the ball and he just grazes the bottom of his boot. That's never a penalty. Like, yes, by the letter of the law, yes, it's a penalty. But to me, that should never be a penalty. It's the same thing.
Yeah. The penalty itself, Hakan, like I
The
could not have been
ballsiest penalty.
yeah, I could not have been more nervous. And also kissing the inside of the post like that, it is a picture perfect penalty. But
Picture
the margin of error is
so
so slim.
so slim there. And like the whole time I was thinking, don't go to your left. Literally, that's all I wanted. Don't go to your left. Everybody knows that now. And if you saw the graphic, 4 of his last 5 went to his left. One in Serie A has been blocked. One in Champions League's been blocked.
And Orban went there again, like when Napoli played Verona, and just barely got it past. Like that's his.
And Vanya is a massive goalkeeper. He is massive. He's fantastic on penalties. I mean, yes, McTominay got both the goals, but you could have made a case for Vanya being, the best player. He was huge with his ball playing ability and the way he's able to just launch the attack.
Yeah,
fantastic. It's crazy. Like he's actually the goalkeeper that would be perfect for Pio if Pio starts games.
Yep.
Because anyway, we don't have to get into that. But yeah, like it's just Hakan taking that penalty the way he did. I was thrilled. He went to the right, like you said, to kiss the inside of the post like that.
Yeah.
And he hit it with venom. So it wasn't like he placed it there and it kissed and went in. No. He hit it with it. No goalkeeper in the world. Donnarumma could have been standing there and it still would have gone in. I mean, listen, hats off to you, Hakan. I give you a lot of credit for taking it like that. I definitely would never have had the confidence to try something as such. I don't think anybody. I think maybe only Balotelli would be the only other guy I think who would have tried a shot like that. But that's it.
In as big of a moment as that was, so good on Hakan to put that in. I respect Antonio Conte as a manager. I respect his ability to get teams to win and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But as a person, I know that his ego is a huge reason for why he's been a winner. He will not let he's very meticulous. He won't let anything get past him. He's riles the guys up. Like part of that is his ego, but his ego is also a massive problem. Get out of the fourth assistant's face. Get out of his face, okay? Don't get in his face and start screaming at him.
Yeah.
That is not fucking cool at all. And a lot of people give Kivu shit like you're too relaxed, you're too whatever. I think that's embarrassing. I don't want my manager doing that shit at all.
Yeah.
Getting sent off, people want to argue like he's riling his team up or whatever. He needs to, for Napoli, if I was the president of Napoli, I'd be embarrassed that my manager was doing shit like that. And I'd also be pissed that you got yourself fucking kicked off the bench when there's 20 minutes left in the game. It was 2-1. That's not like against Inter where we leak the littlest of goals. You want to get yourself kicked off at that point in time? That was so fucking embarrassing. I can't wait to see what he's going to say about the injustice, but the reality is there's no injustice. That's a penalty to the letter of the law. It is what it is. Stay on the bench, and there's 20 minutes left. You could help your team. Instead, you act like a fucking animal. And it's embarrassing. That's all I have to say about this clown.
No, without a question. Like it's like I listen. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't like the hire initially. Of course, I was happy with everything that came after. Initially, I was like, this guy's a Juventino through and through. I don't want him at this club, no matter how successful he is. I didn't. Was I glad to be proven wrong? 100%. I'll eat crow on that one for having that opinion. I'm glad he ended up helping us get back to a Scudetto. Fine. But the antics, the way he addresses certain players, the whole thing that even happened with Lautaro, I thought that was just very unprofessional to even do it in that manner. If you want to pull him aside after the match and ream him in the locker room, cool. That's cool. To do it, it's almost like you're doing it for a show, right? You're doing it for attention. I don't think I've ever met a manager who's been so desperate to be in the spotlight and unable to really handle it. Because if you look at him, right, he only wins the league. He doesn't win. He's never won a European title.
Yep.
He never will. He never will. I don't care what team you could have given him the pep teams from Barcelona or Man City's treble winning team. He would have never won Europe himself. It's exhausting having to see the way he reacts to things. And if it were the other way around, he still would have been in the fourth official's face screaming for a penalty for his team. If it had been on, like whomever, Bastoni on Politano or whatever it may have been, right? Like he would have been doing the same exact thing. So it's like clearly you have an understanding of the game, right? You have knowledge, you know what a foul is, you know what a penalty is. Why are you acting like this? Why are you such a petulant child that you can't seem to manage yourself as a grown adult and be able to just roll with the punches? Yeah, you could voice some dissatisfaction with Dobetti for that being a penalty or having to get to that situation. Sure, I think any manager is in their right to do that, but then to get into somebody's face who really had no say in the final decision making in the process, it makes no sense to me, and I'm just so tired.
What is the fourth official going to do? He's going to run out onto the field and say, "Hey, Dovetti, it actually wasn't a penalty." Like, what the
Yeah.
fuck you want him to do?
Yeah, like it makes absolutely no sense to me. But
Just
this is
constantly
where
making things about himself.
always.
It's yeah, I can't stand the guy. And it really bothers me also that it's like, oh well, he's got another one over Inter. It's like we'll get into it. Okay. Last action of the game that I really want to talk about before we get into some of the players. Actually, we can get to Kivu before we get into the player. Actually, we let's do the player before we get into Kivu.
Okay.
The McTominay goal,
Which one?
the second goal, to tie it up. Ball is lofted into the back post.
Mm-hmm.
Bisek flails at it, makes an attempt, but completely mistimes that jump, and it goes behind him. It goes towards Noah Lang. Barella is closing down, but instead of going to the ball and pushing it out for a corner, he goes towards Lang, who's able to get a foot on it and redirect it across goal.
Which I think Barella handled that, in my opinion, perfectly, closing down on him and trying to literally muscle him off. He ends up hitting him in the leg, kind of, and he's just still able to get around it.
I disagree.
Okay.
I disagree.
What would you have done differently? I'm just curious.
I would have went for the ball, and I would have put it out for a corner. I wouldn't have played the man because it's possible that he can get, unless you literally shove him out of the way where he cannot get to the ball. But it wasn't that kind of shove.
I mean, he basically was.
He got
Noah
to
Lang
it.
just he flailed at it. It was truly a lucky hit.
Why is going to the ball and pushing it out for a corner the worst option then?
I didn't say it was the worst option, but I didn't say I'm saying I'm okay with the way Barella played that. I would agree that yes, the best option would have been to try to boot that 40 yards into the stands. Sure.
Yep.
I'm not going to say that that's wrong, but I'm okay with how he played that. I'm more bothered with you have a 6'5" center back who can't seem to do anything. like in the air. He honestly, Bisek is useless defensively. He is.
I don't know what his deal is, man.
He is useless.
I don't know how he always pops up like in these decisive moments where he is part of how things go wrong. And I don't put that entirely on Bisek, but because he doesn't get to that ball, it allows the other errors to play out, which I, again, like I'm saying, I'm not going to absolve completely, but I love blame because I think there was a better way to play it
That's fair.
defensively. And then the ball comes across the box and like Bastoni's kind of ball watching. Sommer is ball watching.
Sommer's 100% ball watching, and there's another reason why I'm done with him. I'm done with him.
I just don't get like how in the biggest moments of the game, the only thing that should be happening, you should stop trying to do like stop trying to do like the perfect thing and just clear the fucking ball out of there. That's your only job. As the ball is coming across the box, Bastoni or Sommer, go to it. Barella put it out for a corner. Bisek, get to that ball. Head it backwards if you're not able to get forward. Just again, you know, I people are going to talk about the record in the big games, and I think Kivu does have, you know, something. There's things to put on him, but also in the individual actions, like I just feel like we could have defended that better.
I mean, yeah, I don't disagree with that. You know, it's just I don't I don't understand how you could be so switched off so fast in a match of this magnitude. You're what, 8-10 minutes away from winning the game, like
Yeah.
9 minutes. Okay, I was just off. 9 minutes away, plus the 5 minutes of stoppage time. 14 minutes away from winning the game, and you can't stay focused on making sure that they don't score an equalizer. And just his thought process, Kivu, that is. Like, I just don't understand where your head's at in this match. You know
What
what the criticisms are of you. You know what people say. You played a really good first half. Again, unable to finish. Your chances, you're unable to get, you know, a 2-3 goal lead. Probably should have had 3, to be honest. Fine. Okay. You come out flat. Napoli's dominating possession. They're trying everything to take the lead. You're hanging in there, and you're not making substitutions when you have 2 forwards who have had 0 impact on the match. Lautaro, useless. I'm sorry. If anybody wants to come at me after seeing that match, what did he do? What did he do today? Again, missing in the big games. And it's not just me saying this. Go look at Uncle Sharma. He said the same thing. Perisic said the same thing. Uh,
Yep.
Other people are saying it.
couldn't win
I just happen to
a
be the only one on the
1v1
podcast.
versus couldn't win a 1v1 versus
Against
Juan Jesus. Yep.
Juan Jesus, who literally is a fraud of a Brazilian, never been a good defender in his life. Today, he decided to play him like prime Samuel. You had that go on. Turam offered nothing. When he would dribble he was getting bullied all day against Juan Jesus. It's 2-1 at this point. Or no, sorry. It's 1-1 still. And the first person you take off is Zielinski, who was, without a doubt, the best midfielder today. Yeah, okay, maybe he did look fatigued, but I would have felt better about leaving him out a little bit longer.
I think he was limping. I think he got stepped on and was limping, and that's why this.
I've been stepped on and finished the game myself, and the guy had metal cleats, and he went through my foot, and I was bleeding into my boot.
Johnny,
and kept
I
going,
mean, what do you like?
You're a professional, bro. You're a professional. Like you could play. Give me 10 more minutes. I'm sorry, and you bring on Mkhitaryan. Okay,
so then is that a criticism of Kivu or Zielinski? Because like Zielinski at that point had lost
for making that the first substitution.
But then you're saying like, oh, you could have stayed on for 10 more minutes. It's like, what if first of all, at that point in time, Zielinski was hobbling, like, and it like I don't know, maybe you want to get a little bit more steel in your midfield because
and Mkhitaryan's the steel you want to get in.
Johnny, Mickey played well today. He played well.
I'm saying before you make the substitution, yes, he played well. That doesn't matter what I'm talking about. That's the steel you want to bring in. That's like your first thought is Mkhitaryan. Forget about how he played.
Who else are you going to?
What, Sucic and
I'm saying, Johnny,
are not doing anything?
If Zielinski had to come off the pitch if Zielinski had to come off the pitch, he goes to Mkhitaryan, and that ends up being the correct call. Mickey played
Of
well.
course,
He
'cause you
won
can
the
say that
penalty. He
after
hit the
the
post.
fact. You can say this all after the fact. I'm talking about in the minute. That's the first substitution you want to make.
I just don't
In
get
the
why
minute.
that is the problem.
All right, your forwards are doing nothing. That's literally what I've been saying.
But
Your
if
forwards are
Zielinski
doing
is
nothing.
hurt and has to come off the
Fine,
pitch,
you take all three off at the same time. Is that
Okay.
so hard to understand?
What are you
Like-
getting so heated for? Relax. I'm just,
because Kibu did everything wrong today. He did everything
I just don't
wrong.
agree with that at all.
That's fine. You want to defend him on this one? Go ahead. Today he did everything wrong.
What was
Napoli to
hold
do
on, Johnny, because now you're just saying shit. You're saying he did everything wrong?
Yes.
What are you talking about? Everything wrong.
Okay, fine. The first half, fantastic. I said the second half, he did everything wrong. Okay? You allowed Napoli to get so much confidence. You 70% possession, I'm pretty sure is what they said.
Johnny, it wasn't allowing Napoli to get confidence. They pressed like animals for 45 minutes in the first half, and
now you're tired?
The
Now you're tired?
Johnny, hold on. This is how you have to manage games. You have to manage games. If you press like that at the start of the second half, you don't have to go buck wild. You don't have to go. You can conserve your energy. Play. You saw the way they were playing side to side, like not going super hard. Napoli has a dominant first 15 minutes, and then not a dominant game for the rest of the game. Inter had that second half for the rest of the game. I think you're throwing stuff on Kivu that's not necessarily there.
Bro,
if Zielinski had to come off the pitch, he had to come off the pitch. If the argument is at that point you have to take off the two forwards, I don't think that that's a bad call. I think that's a good call to take off the two forwards at that moment.
And
But
he waited too long again because you allowed two guys who are doing absolutely nothing for you. They're not holding up
100%.
play. They're not allowing players to come in, and you're still letting Napoli do absolutely whatever they want because
Johnny,
you won't take off
100%.
two guys who are
100%.
doing nothing. So
100%.
yes,
That's
got
different
it
than
wrong.
Kivu got that
wrong.
You're saying he got everything wrong.
He got the tactics wrong. Like you could have pressed the first 15 minutes coming out instead of letting them grow into the game and gain confidence.
If you don't have 90 minutes of pressing and you have 65, if you have 65 or 70 minutes of pressing, the way to do it is the 45 in the first half, take the foot off the gas at the start of the second half, and then have energy in the tank.
The ropes, in my opinion, if you have them up against the ropes, because they were flailing, they were making nothing but errors, they were misplaying passes.
When?
You had them playing Napoli in the first half.
In the first half, they pressed like crazy.
You have them against that. Why wouldn't you keep that going and enforce more mistakes?
Johnny, it's a different. They go into the locker room for 15 minutes.
I understand that, but if you come out and you have the same energy, the same motivation, and you're able to fight for 65, guess what you do? When you see people getting tired, you make substitutions. Luis Enrique wasn't offering anything really in the second half.
Okay,
so made the
what happens
for Diouf? You could hold on. You could have made us brought Diouf on. There's energy. There's a player who's willing to take on his man. There's a person now who's going to challenge Spinazzola and make it harder for him to get further up the pitch and have impact there.
Also,
now,
a way worse defender. And again, it's
what was Luis Enrique doing defensively?
He was fine. He was good today.
He was fine. He wasn't like a defensive player. I'm sorry. Like I
don't know, Johnny. I don't understand. I think you have a right to be bothered with the two subs.
It happens every single big game. I'm sorry. Like I was able to defend him and be like, hey, you know what? He's doing better. He's growing into the season. It happens every single big game. You make the same mistakes, the same errors. You wait too long to bring on substitutions, and you bring fine. You want to bring on Mkhitaryan first because Zielinski's hurt. He's got a little boo-boo. All right, fine. Make that happen. But you wait too long. And then what happens when Pio and Boni come on? Instant good things. Instantly. Good things. Pio gets taken down by freaking Juan Jesus. Yellow card. Okay, now you have a center back playing on a yellow card. You could have kept attacking that person, but you wait till there's 7 minutes left in regulation to make those changes. It's stupid. Petar Sucic has to come on for Hakan, who's injured. Okay. I mean, what else are you going to do in that situation? Fine. You wait too long to take off Lautaro, who literally offered you nothing. The guy, I'm pretty sure he's on a milk carton right now in Milano because he's been missing for big games all season. And you wait for Boni, who's been the most impactful striker, and you give him 3 minutes plus stoppage time. Wow, 8 minutes for one of your star young players to have some kind of impact. What is the purpose now? You basically gifted points to a team that drops points against scrub
I mean, that
sides like
doesn't
Lecce.
matter. Like
It's like it's the same
that
thing
doesn't matter
every
at all.
time against big clubs now, and I
Johnny,
thought
you went for,
would have
I think
learned
you're
by
a
now.
little too active in certain group chats, because to be honest with you, it was
Dude,
every single
I
no,
watched the game.
Johnny, hold on. Every single time we've gotten behind the mic here to do these podcasts in these big games, it hasn't been on Kivu. But today, now all of a sudden, you've switched up as if he got everything wrong. I agree with you that hold on. Let me say my part about this.
I didn't say anything.
I agree with you. I agree with you about the two forwards coming on early. I think that's a mistake. That is very different than, Kivu's the reason that we threw away he got everything wrong, and he's the reason that we threw away the 2 points. I mean, you're the guys that made the mistakes on the goals. Like you're not going to take off. You weren't going to take off Bisek over there
because you had nobody to bring on.
You weren't going to exactly. You weren't going to take off Akanji, who had a miserable game.
Exactly. So if you have no options to bring on defenders, you have to play with those defenders. Fair.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't say anything about the defenders. I'm saying he's not doing anything with the forwards. I didn't like who we brought in the midfield. Luis Enrique, in my opinion, didn't really do much to warrant staying on for the whole game. Like, we had glimpses of Diouf looking really good and being able to play out wide, and now it's like, now we can't use him there at all. DiMarco gassed. All right, fine. You have to take him out for Agosto, even though I probably would have taken out Bastoni personally, because Bastoni was probably the worst defender. Bisek was.
I thought he defended well in the first half, and Akanji was fucking terrible today. Hoyland had him in a fucking body bag all day.
Bruh, on the ball that got played where Hoyland came through, Akanji tries to take the man. If Bisek had a millimeter of a brain in his head, he would have gone to the ball instead of like being totally. How do you get turned when there's nobody on you?
That wasn't okay.
There was another one played longer.
There was another. There were multiple ones where Hoyland held up against Akanji. Johnny, let's have an honest conversation here. Akanji didn't play well today. Hoyland did what he needed to do.
Like, I mean, what are we talking about here? Like, they win this game if Akanji doesn't make that play in the end of the first half.
Okay, Johnny, this was not a great Akanji game. He saved the goal.
You're putting words in my mouth.
Okay,
hold on. Say this is a great Akanji game?
Thuram had an assist for DiMarco, but he had a terrible fucking game, right? Akanji, was able to save a goal, but he had a terrible
great Akanji game.
This is I don't know why it's getting so heated when I don't think Akanji had a good game today. I think that Hoyland had his way with him for most of the game. I think those high, long balls, he wasn't playing them correctly. There were several headers that instead of like clearing it out of there, it went right back into danger. I thought he was pretty weak today.
Okay.
I watched the game too. Okay. I mean, it's not like Hoyland was holding him off like it was nothing.
Okay.
I forget where we were. All right, so I agree that the forwards could have come on a lot earlier. As far as the flow of the game, they pressed super aggressive in that first half and created enough opportunities, like you said, to go up 3-0. They can't press like that for the entirety of the game. The way I would do it was make sure I had my energy towards the end of the game. And in the first 15 minutes of the second half, like sit back, make sure that I'm not completely gassing myself out. But you could play it a different way. I'm not saying that you can't play it a different way. One of those ways is that you do come out with all the energy that you have in the first 15 minutes, and then you start making subs at the 65th minute. But you can't make 11 subs. You can't make 10 subs. You only have a few to go to, 5 to go to. So I think we have a disagreement on both the way that he managed the team as well as the substitutions. Do you have any other Kivu specific gripes? I know at the start of the pod you said you had several things.
No, no, I think it's, yeah, just the forwards not wanting to come out with your foot on the gas in the second half. Um, unwillingness to bring on Juve, and continuing to trust in Jan Sommer. That's
Yeah.
even though, so whatever.
I Johnny, I know that we are, going at each other a little bit here, but I agree with you about most of those things. I thought the way that he went about playing the game was correct. I disagree with when he brought the forwards on as well. But I also think like the Mickey substitution worked out. And I also think there were a lot of individual errors across the pitch again that we see in these big games. We lost a lot of second balls, like really weak stuff that the team should be dealing better with. Um, Stuff like in the first half, Barella and Lautaro going at each other, getting frustrated with each other. Your captain and your vice captain. What is that? What is that shit?
I mean, I think people are just tired of Lautaro. I think they maybe, stuff that's goes on in training, and maybe it's poured over on the pitch now, and now they're just voicing their frustrations on the pitch.
Yeah, that could be it. Could be. How did you think Barella played today?
I don't know. I guess a 5, 6 out of 10, whatever you want to call it. I mean, I think he had a good. I think if he got that shot on goal with that was blocked by, what's his name, Juan Jesus. That's probably would have been a banger of a goal, and people would have been screaming. But you know, it probably wasn't even that bad of a game, to be quite honest, by him. But like, I thought he did a good job getting into pockets of spaces, being able to find teammates, being able to hold up possession. There was a few dribbles on the edge of the sideline there where he was able to get himself out of trouble. I thought Luis Enrique and him were kind of playing pretty well with one another in that first half, and then the second half, I think you saw a little fatigue in Luis Enrique, where he was unable to really make the kinds of runs that I think that Barella was hoping he would be able to go on to, and then crossing the ball into the box. He was, you know, I thought Barella was obviously more of a threat than Luis Enrique, but again, not getting an assist, not getting a goal. I'm sure people saw other stuff that they didn't like with Barella. So, yeah, I guess, I don't know, 6, 7, whatever. Oh, God, I can't believe I said that.
I think it was the Barella experience, which is you still get the hands getting thrown up, the little temper tantrums, you get the missed volleys, like the badly missed volleys, but then you also had at the end of the first half that cross for Turam where Vanya pushed over the bar. Like that's a goal creating opportunity. In the second half, the ball over the top to Lautaro was brilliant, and like a better striker should have done much better with that opportunity. So for me, it's like he essentially, created two goal scoring opportunities that his teammates, let him down on. But then he also, he wasn't perfect. There was some poor shot decisions. Again, you see those throwing of the hands. So, we'll probably hear a lot about Barella. We touched on Lautaro. Um, Although not extensively, because what are you going to say? Like he just completely goes missing. Um, and probably you know, it should be a conversation about whether or not both Lauti and Turam need to be the undisputed starters in attack at this point. Luis Enrique, I thought he was really good just in the build-up phase, as well as some tight space dribbling situations that he was in, but the crossing is not there. Like
No, it's very Denzel Dumfries early in his career. So
really not even coming close to to players, just really, really poor on the crossing. Again, lacking the dynamism to take his man on in the final third. There are points in time where it feels like he's much more willing to dribble someone deep in his own half than he is deep in the opponent's half, um, which is a little strange. Zielinski in that first half was a tuttocampista. He was winning like every ball, every single ball, and then the decisions in the final third were great. If the substitution was not because of injury or because he, couldn't do it, then I agree with you that it's egregious because he is the best midfielder on this team for this season, for me, without a question.
Without a doubt. It's if anyone thinks anything differently, you're just being foolish. He's been the most influential, the most positive going forward. He's been able to do everything. His passing has been amazing. His ball striking ability, the goals that he's scored this season have been absolute bangers. And it just he's been the most consistent player in the midfield, and I did not think that he should be the one coming off. But yeah, if he's hurt, I guess he's hurt. I mean, everybody seems to be getting hurt now in the midfield except for Barella. So yeah,
Yep. Um, how did you like Hakan's game today?
no, he was pretty solid too. I don't think this was a bad game for by any means. I still think Zielinski was the best one today, in my opinion. But yeah, Hakan, great goal, great confidence to take that strike. I thought that some of his long range shots were a waste of opportunity, waste of possessions. Like we could have done more. I think he should have been more willing to pick out a pass. But with the way Turam and Lautaro were playing, I guess I would want to be selfish too. So
All right, let's finish off the player discussion with our two Italian stalwarts here, Bastoni and DiMarco. Obviously, DiMarco gets the goal. It was a great finish. He had a through ball for Thuram in the first half. That was awesome. He really waned in effectiveness in the second half, but I thought like he did his job. He scored a goal. He created a potential goal scoring opportunity. That's a lot more than what other teams can ask of their left backs or left wing backs. So I thought he was good today.
yeah, no, DiMarco was incredible. If my opinion for at least for Inter, he was probably the man of the match. I thought that he was dangerous going up and down the wing. The only things that I thought were bad were his corner kicks, to be honest. But everything else was deadly. The crossing were good. I think he had one that went just over Turam in the first half. The shot, like you said, with the goal, to have the ability to pick out that corner from that angle, I mean, brilliant skill. And yeah, it's just the same old stuff with him that he just doesn't have the legs to go 90 minutes, and then you're forced to bring in Augusto, knowing you need to chase a goal when his strength is defensive ability. So you know, it's unfortunate that he can't go the whole game. I mean, I know he went 88, 89 minutes, so it's not like he missed much, but I who knows what could have happened if he was on the pitch. As they were kicking the ball outside the 18 a few times late in the game that led up to the Mkhitaryan chance. What happens if that's Dimarco in that same position? Like, is he able to just whip that in? I mean, it is what it is, though. No fault of his, to be honest.
Bastoni as a defender,
I think he's regressed massively this season. It's
even today.
I'll be honest, like nothing today really stood out to me. So I mean, maybe you saw something differently. I didn't see anything that made me think,
Well,
wow,
in the first
he's.
half, it was good. In the second half, it was shaky. But in the first half, he was okay.
I mean, still, it's still a regression. Like last year, he was insane. His tackling, his reading of the game, his reading of passes that were coming, toward like to players or being able to cut down angles. He was 2 years ago. I thought that he was not a good defender. Then last year, he takes this step that I'm like, finally, this is what I was hoping for him to be, the absolute complete center back. And then this year, it's like just it's a big regression from last year. I don't know if it's the system. I don't know if it's what Kiwu's asking of him. I don't know. I don't know why the change. Like you suddenly forgot how to read passes. Uh, to mark a man, to not make stupid challenges. Like I mean that could happen to anybody. So the brain farts that I mean happens to be sick once a game. So, but I just expected more from Bastoni. And to be honest, like listen, I don't agree with Carlo on the Italian football pod much, but about him being, so important to the Italian national team, I am a little shaky. Granted, the alternatives are not better, so I don't
Yeah,
know if I would bring
Buongiorno
anybody.
is definitely not better, especially on this level of form that he's on right now.
Yeah, that's. I mean, look, he's being benched by Rahmani and Bakuma and Juan Jesus right now. So like, he's doesn't have a leg to stand on. But there really is not like we don't produce defenders like we used to, and it's. I'm not gonna. The fact that Bastoni's the best one of the bunch, that's not great for defensive. Like, yes, on the ball, I wouldn't want anybody else but him on the ball. But defending, uh, it's not
Yeah.
not there.
Um. All right. Three more players, but let's try to get through them quick, and then we'll get to your questions. Um, do you have like anything you want to say about Mkhitaryan? I don't know if there's really many Mkhitaryan. There's still holdouts left about him. I don't think that there are because of just how good Zielinski's been, and it's obvious that he's not the third best midfielder and should be written into every starting 11. That's become clear for even the staunchest of supporters of Mkhitaryan. But I did think he came on and like he gave it his all and he was involved in some good actions. And um, do you want to say anything positive or negative or
Yeah, I have
straight
nothing
down the
negative to
middle?
say about him. Like the reason I was upset, like again, you took it as though like I was saying, like look at the performance he had. How could you say you didn't want him on? I was saying in that minute I did not want him on. If Zielinski's hurt, fine, different story. I mean, if you got stepped on and that like listen, dude, unless you've torn something, I don't know, like a step, like you could literally shake it off in a few minutes. Like if you just run on it and put pressure on it. But whatever, it's neither here nor there. I just was saying that I didn't want Mkhitaryan to come on first. We had other guys who were weaker than Zielinski. That was my gripe. That's my problem with what Kiwu did. Mkhitaryan was a good player. I mean, he had some good passing. He had that shot that I mean it got deflected, so I don't know if it was going to go on goal. He normally misses the goal, so I wasn't really hopeful. But it did hit the post off a deflection. Maybe it would have gone to the right there and he could have scored the game winner, and it would have been, massive, massive moment, pandemonium. People would have been going crazy, and it would have been incredible scenes. But like, yeah, no, he didn't do anything bad. Maybe I think he misplayed one pass, but he always does every game. So like, I've grown to accept that. But this, is what he should be doing, coming off the bench. That's all he can really offer. When he starts, he's a disaster.
Yeah, I agree. And then Pio and Boni, I think in the short time that they were on the pitch, they both looked better than Lautaro and Turam.
It's not even a question.
That turn from PO where he ate Juan Jesus's lunch was incredible. Boni created the opportunity that ended up being Mickey hitting the post. Um, there is a serious discussion to be had about these two, about Turam and Lauti, like losing out to them. They've earned more minutes, and we'll see if that's really going to happen. I think it's a really delicate situation when you're working with veterans and really young players, and it's a big test for Kivu. Okay. Do you have anything about the game that you want to talk about before we get into the listener questions?
Yeah.
Okay. I have one other question for you. Um, this is coming into the game. Everyone was saying how this was our best 11. We're sending out our best 11 on the pitch. Is this our best 11? Taking this game into account, you know, in these big games, is this the best 11, or are there changes that would be made in your opinion?
No. Jan Sommer alone does not make it your best 11. Like I don't know how you see the performance Martinez has against Bologna in the Supercoppa, and you're like not playing again. It just makes no sense to me. Absolutely no sense. He's a bigger goalkeeper. He's faster. He's got better reflexes. He can cover more space. Better with the ball at his feet. I just don't understand how you play him. And then even right now with the way Turam has been playing, and Lautaro really, like I don't know how you. I mean, I fine. You can leave Lautaro in, but Turam should be out and Boni should be in my opinion, always until Turam shows me something else. Because you used to have pace. You used to be able to blow past the man. I don't see it anymore. When you go to take on your man, you don't try to do any step overs. You don't try to even draw fouls like you used to. Like at least then, you when you would try to take on a man, you would get fouled out the outside of the box, in the box, draw penalties. Now it's like you just run right at them, and they could literally just put a toe poke in there, and that's it. They'll go in the opposite direction. Like I don't understand it. Um, I would rather see Boney. He's more willing to take on his man, and he's better at holding up play.
Yeah, I agree at the very minimum, Bonni should be starting at this point. And I agree with you that it should be for Turam. I would also say the same for Joseph Martinez. I don't know what the dynamics are in that locker room, but I think it's pretty clear to see that there's a couple positions in the starting 11 that need to be shook up the same
Yep.
way that he shook up the defense and the midfield. So maybe it's just, taking a little bit of time to complete the revolution. Um, all right, let's get into your Twitter questions, and we have a few speak pipes at FC Andre 1908. Are we seeing insecurity creep into our defense because they know Sommer's not as reliable as he once was, so the defenders are scrambling and not being marshaled properly?
I think it's a combination. I think that the scrambling is just, you have guys like Bisek who don't know really their position clearly. Like they just don't know how to use their body. They don't know how to really just man mark at the very least. They get caught flat footed very often. Akanji has to try to recover not only for Bisek, but then Jan Sommer being a coward. And then, it puts Bastoni in bad situations as well, where he's kind of pinned in his corner and has to figure out how to get out of situations. It's a combination of all of it, really. Like, yes, there is a lack of trust in Jan Sommer, but I just think you don't have good enough strength in the actual defense, like defending as an art.
Yep. Defenders need to be defenders again. Been saying that.
I might even
Um,
I might even design a shirt that says "Make defenders great again." I don't know.
I'd buy it. Lee Theobald, draw was a fair result, in my opinion. Probably. Intertwined. From a head to head perspective, it's disappointing, but a loss could have created cracks mentally that a tie won't. I agree.
Uh,
I agree.
okay.
You disagree?
I think in the way that that game was lost, I think it could still create cracks mentally. I mean, not lost. Draw, like the lead was lost. I
Sure.
think it still create cracks mentally
Twice.
when you're unable to close out games. I think that will start to weigh on players personally. But
It probably already has. That's probably why it keeps happening. League position wise, we're okay, and we need to go back to doing what we do against lesser opponents. Sure.
you you, you gotta beat you gotta beat a big team if you want to win the if we actually win this title without beating a single UCL side, I'll be shocked. Shocked. It'll be the most shocking thing I've ever seen.
Yep. Nick Costa, Somers cooked. Our defense can't stay switched on for a full game. And the inability to fill the net when Napoli were on their heels bit us in the ass. That said, at least Inter is still top of the table, but this result was very upsetting. Yes. But this is what's happening where we are top of the table, but it's a draw that feels like a loss, and that's exactly what Jerkbag Jerk says. This draw felt like a loss after Hakan's PK. I thought this would be wrapped up. It would be nice to beat a rival this year. It would be. M6 Zeki, were you guys happy with the subs? I don't get how Lautaro stayed on the pitch for 87 minutes. In my opinion, the subs were too late. This was Akanji's worst performance. Hopefully, we don't waste this January transfer window. We need a right wing back. So he agreed with both of us there on the subs being too late and Akanji's worst performance. As far as the right wing back in the January transfer window, Marotta before the game says they're looking for players of Inter's level, but these opportunities don't always come in January. I think it's probably safe for Interisti to temper their expectations. Peter Jordan Payne, this game hinged on desire. Inter didn't seem to have desire, maybe confidence to see the game out. A few leaders had poor games like Lautaro, Barella, and even Akanji. The box was full of Inter statues on the final goal. Unacceptable at that stage of the match.
Couldn't agree more.
I also thought the desire was really, really lacking. And when we're talking about seeing out a match, the same thing that Nick Costa said, like unable to just lock in for 90 minutes. Avid Inter fan, our weakest links are Sommer and Sommer. I'm pretty damn sure Kivu knows that, but does nothing about it. Being nice in the long run won't bring much success to Kivu. Yep, he has to make a decision on the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Banana Pudini, very, very strange last sequence, not getting the ball in. What is it, the name?
Yeah. Banana Pudini. That's awesome.
It's top tier. Banana Pudini with the 2 stars as well.
Ooh, okay. I like it. I like it.
Very strange last sequence, not getting the ball in, passing it back and forth. Yeah, what was that? It was like Luis Enrique and Barella were, or then Sucic.
No, Sucic. It was Sucic. Yeah, like it's and it's like I was waiting for Sucic to try to cross. He waited too long to cross it in, and then he found like I don't know, man. I think nobody. Honestly, I really think nobody wanted to make the mistake. I think that was a fear.
Yep, 100%.
Nobody wanted to play.
That's not good. I felt like a win after the pen, but still top. I now play for FC Glass half full. It's always nice to see a ref just let the boys play for a change. Ball up top for Inter.
FC Glass half full.
Yeah. You know what that's like. All right. Last one from Luca, and then we'll get into a couple speak pipes. Lautaro ineffective against Napoli yet again. Is it a mental issue for the player, or has Conte just worked out how to nullify the Argentine? Hypothetically, if Inter were to play Napoli again this year, would you start Lautaro or change it up? See, here's the thing. Conte didn't work out how to nullify him because nullifying him was Juan Jesus. It's like that's not how you nullify Lautaro. It's Lautaro like not having his head in the game or maybe putting too much pressure on himself in those moments, in my opinion. I don't know, if you agree with that.
Yeah, I don't even know with these guys. I don't know.
All right, let's speak pipe it. Very pissed off Inter fan.
Scott McTominay can.
I don't know. Okay, that's better. Oh
wait, I'll try it again. But it's going to be explicit.
Scott McTominay can fuck right off.
Oh, that's it?
That's it.
Sure.
That's
yeah.
It. That's it. Hamo, this is his first speak pipe, I think. His or hers first speak.
Brother, we need to really start getting Martinez in that net, man. I mean, Sommer is bad. Sommer is not capable of doing anything. Like, look, man, we are Inter, okay? We're a big club. We're a fucking big club. We need a big-time goalie that will save us games. We haven't had a single game saved by our goalie, and it's been almost 20 games this season, this year. Our goalie has costed us more points. I mean, this is the point where Kivu needs to really get Martinez in there. Martinez was the starting goalie for Genoa, man. Like, he was a good goalie. We bought him in for 11 million. Lautaro Martinez, he's having trouble in these big games. Love the guy. He's done amazing things for our team. But he needs to get yanked out, man. 2-1, we're up. He's not having a good game. Bring in Bunny, fresh legs. Kill this fucking game off. Instead, what happens? Lautaro's still on the field doing the same old bullshit, trying to do Maradona fucking runs, loses the ball, gets the run of play for the second fucking time, causes the second fucking goal. I'm not even talking about the defense. The defense, whatever, it is what it is. But against a run of play.
He got cut
Put
off.
the ball on a
Oh,
counter. That is when our defense has brain frost. Like their brains just can't comprehend losing the ball on a counter, and they can't get in position to defend well. So that was just that. And Enrique, I mean, he's just not good enough for us, man. Like it is what it is, and that's all I'm gonna say. Fortunate City.
I'll disagree on Luis Enrique. I think he's not a good enough crosser for sure. I think he's just, that wasted a lot of possession. Defense, I mean, it was never a strong suit of his to begin with, so I didn't really have high expectations there. I did expect a little bit more on the taking on your man and being able to dribble past him. He's got incredible pace. He's got good recovery on defense. There's times where he does get beat and he's able to chase his man down. I think it's just something where you're unfamiliar with the league, and I know it's like I'm not trying to make an excuse for him. He has gotten better at it, but I still think he's learning, and I think once he figures it out. I mean, look, it took Dumfries 3 years really to shine in this league, right? So I wasn't his biggest supporter, Dumfries, that is, and now like we kind of miss him, especially in games like this. I think that he would have been extremely influential, and who knows, maybe he would have been a guy to score a goal for us. But I'm not going to give up on Luis Enrique yet, and I think the same thing with Diouf. I think I don't know what. Yeah, your mic's doing something weird, but I think that we'll be able to get the best out of those guys. So hopefully, it won't be as long of a process for Luis Enrique to figure it out, like Dumfries did. But we'll see.
Yeah, the Luis Enrique thing is weird because he dribbles out of pressure deep in his own half, but he doesn't dribble to beat his man in the attacking third. And I don't understand what that is. You were talking about how there was a division of the responsibility between Luis Enrique and Sucic because no one wanted to make the mistake on the ball being delivered in. And I feel like that is also the mentality that creeps into Luis Enrique when he's further up the pitch. Lautaro, terrible. We talked about that. And the last word goes to our boy, Gino Panino.
Here for Vancouver. I just finished watching the match. Overall, great performance. Too strong, high. That's for both. Expected. Talked a bit about Inter's captain. Full game midweek, and then another pretty much full game today. Didn't look himself at all. Tired. Some would say a big match flop. He's our captain. Stand behind him. But at what point do we need something from him today and it didn't deliver? Bonnie looked good coming in, even though it was a short cameo. Peel, and that nice turn. Andrew Pachano. But why is it that McTominay always looks like the superstar that he can be against Inter, and he always is a dagger in our hearts here? But nonetheless, Scudetto wasn't won or lost today. Point deserved, and we play on. Let's do a long season ahead. Ciao, guys. Gino Panino from Vancouver.
I mean, I'll agree that the tie was the fair result for both clubs for sure. I'm not gonna disagree with that. But no, I'm trying to remember exactly what he said. But with what's his name? With Lautaro, the thing that's difficult is he's the captain, right? So you can't bench him. You can't basically strip your captain of his armband. If you bench him, that means it's going to be somebody else. Like the only way that really works is if he's injured. So it's like, what do you do now? You have to keep playing him. You have to hope that he's able to work through it and figure something out. But it's like in the beginning of the year, he looked fit. He looked fast. He looked sharp. Now he looks slow again. Like, I don't know, man. Are you eating at your wife's restaurant in Milano too much? Like, you're just not focusing on.
Against Bologna, he looked actually like skinny. Like his cheeks, like you could see his cheekbones more.
He's talking about the Super Cup or the second game?
Two games ago.
You thought he looked skinny?
He did.
I don't remember if he looked skinny, but maybe he did.
He did.
But again, it's just it's like I don't know what the right way to go about it with him is. Like,
it is interesting if you contrast it with what Gino was saying about McTominay, because the reason McTominay looks the way he does in these big games is because he is a dog. Deep in his soul, he's a dog, and in the big moments, he wants it bad. And you
Yeah.
can even see after he scores the second goal, like he's like trying to rile his team up because he's laser focused on trying to win the game. And that is yeah.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that's like you can recognize when someone is like a dog. They just have it in their soul and in their heart that they're
Yep.
just gonna scrap for everything and leave it all. And it's not to say that Lautaro doesn't scrap hard, but it's I don't know. It doesn't have both the brain and the brawn with it. He doesn't. It's like I don't know. It's like a really not confident person working really hard. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, it's on the McTominay front. I mean, yeah, like he's not the most technically gifted player. He's not the most enjoyable to watch or aesthetically pleasing, but he is, like you said, a dog. Like he will leave it all on the pitch. He will fight for every ball. Like he was making mistakes in the first half, and he was still, able to score. And then he scored the winner. And it's like he puts himself in positions because he wants it. And listen, I'll give him a lot of credit for the performance that he did put in because yeah, he was like, all right, man, like if I'm gonna do this, like I'm gonna give it all I got here, and yeah, like no one's ever gonna question my heart or my fight. So I kind of wish we had players like that, and I think we do. I mean, listen, Barella may have bad performances, but I think he really does leave it all on the pitch. I think for DiMarco, it means something to him to wear this kit. Growing up in the Curva and being an academy player and just all that stuff that goes with it. Like I think that's awesome to have for him. But
You
like,
know, Pio is also like that.
yeah, Pio, you know what Pio is. Things weigh on him. I think he understands the gravity too of putting on this kit. And I just hope
he fights. He fights hard. Like
Yeah.
he wants it bad. He wants it bad. Desire is never an issue when he's on the pitch.
And it makes you wonder, like, do you start really like phasing out some of these players after this year, like moving on from certain guys and trying to get? You could still find technically gifted players who are absolute dogs. You know, I mean, I can't think of one now off the top of my head, but like a guy that I consider a dog that like I would have felt better about being able to bring on for Hakan would have been a guy like Morten Frendrup. Yeah, he's not going to really like give you much in attacking ability, but I think in just fighting for the balls and trying to win possession back, he would have been an absolute beast there. And you could have left Barella out wide and not have to bring on Sucic, who I think just didn't again not doesn't really have time to grow into the game, and I feel like in this situation, like I said, it seemed like he was a little scared to get out there and potentially make a mistake. So it's yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be long before we see things, but
McTominay also said in the post match something interesting, where he said we didn't have any Anguissa, no Lukaku, no Neres, no De Bruyne, and he said if Inter was missing, Lautaro, Thuram, Barella, you know, they wouldn't look at it would be difficult for them as well. We never quit, like we always fight. And he's right. Like they didn't have some guys that are considered important to them, and they do fight like crazy, Napoli, and you do have to give that to them. But also, like if Lautaro was out of this game, like we might have an option that would have looked better today. Like I don't necessarily know if I agree with that.
yeah.
But anyway.
I mean, I think it's just guys just trying to banter, right? Like I'm not gonna look at him as like trying to slight anybody. I think he was just trying to back his boys and make them look better than they are.
Alrighty, I'm spent. An hour and 20 almost on this game. Inter stays top of the league, 43 points, 3-point cushion over Milan. It's not big enough to say anything about this title. Everybody's still in it. Inter has a lot of games to play, including on Wednesday against Lecce, and that is when you will see us next. Anything else from you, Johnny?
No. Oh, Sean. Yeah, I shipped out your cards, so leave me
Bastard.
alone.
Bastard.
Don't ever want to talk to you.
Just rigged it.
I think next time I'm gonna. If he wins again, I'm just gonna.
We just have to make him ineligible, I think. He's not allowed to participate.
Yeah. And there's some people who won in the past. I mean, I maybe because they feel like they can't win again, but like I haven't seen a lot of people who used to participate in the past do it. So
You're suspended, Sean. Executive decision.
yeah, you're in the gulag.
You know who else is in the gulag? Lautaro Martinez. Talk about it. Comment about it. In the words of the great Roberto Scarpini, Forza ragazzi, Forza ragazzi, Forza ragazzi.